Growing up, one of my favorite cartoons, probably like top 10, top 5 for me, was definitely Young Justice. I remember waking up on Saturday mornings and just being hyped for new Young Justice. You know, I was a big DC kid for as long as I could remember. It all started with the Batman 2004 TV show, Static Shock, Teen Titans, Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited. And I still am. I'm still very much a DC guy, you know? And after all these shows ended in about, I'd say, the mid to early 2000s area, you know, I was left in a drought. You know, I was fiending for more DC animated content, not to mention that Dick Grayson's Robin has just always been one of my favorite characters. He is my favorite DC character. I don't know why. It's probably because of Teen Titans. And then just, you know, reading up and learning more about him. So when the show came around, I was the exact target audience that they were shooting for. You know, I loved the sidekicks. I loved the idea of the sidekicks. A show based on all of them trying to make a name for themselves sounded great to me because I was a kid and I always saw myself, again, one of the reasons I loved Robin was because I wanted to be that teen superhero or that kid superhero, because I think I was like 10 or 11 when the show came out. I was 10, it was 2011. And it was perfect until it got canceled. Then it came back. Then they absolutely wasted the chance that they got when it came back, you know? And in today's video, I want to address exactly where I think the show messed up and how I believe it could have been fixed, you know? And with all that out the way, I do want to say thank you guys so much. We've cooked through 1,000 subs. We're on our way to 1,100 right now. I think we're like 1068. So thank you guys so much. So, you know, if you're enjoying the content, please keep subbing, please keep supporting. It really does help. And with all that out the way, let's get it done.
Young Justice, new series premiere, coming in January. Only on Cartoon Network. Don't call them sidekicks.
So diving into this video, I think the most important thing that we need to establish is where the show went wrong. And it's not really hard to find because literally everybody on the internet who has watched Young Justice will tell you that it was with the 5-year time skip in between seasons 1 and 2. And if you're watching this video, you've probably already watched Young Justice and you're agreeing with me. You know, this was almost unheard of at the time. I don't think I remember any other show, cartoon, or anything that's done this to that degree. You know, the team that we grew to love in season 1 was aged up and entire character growth arcs just happened off screen that we seemingly had absolutely no idea about. Dick became Nightwing, Aqualad became evil, and Artemis and Wally left the team to be together, kind of start a family kind of thing. And then the most egregious thing of all, to me at least, because I love Superboy McGann and Connor broke up off screen over some pretty big things that were explained further along in the show's life cycle. You know, and season 2 was touched on, and then season 4 is like really explored because they get back together. Whatever, bro. And then on top of this, we were hit with the whiplash of an entirely different team to explore and care about. And the characters that they gave us were ones I was genuinely interested in for the most part. You know, I love me some Static. I love me some Tim Drake as Robin, you know, but if your favorite character is Lagoon Boy, you don't exist. You're lying to me. No one's favorite character is Lagoon Boy. You didn't know about Lagoon Boy before this show. Let's be honest. You know, I never heard of him before the show, and I think I was pretty deep into obscure DC stuff at the time, you know. And interesting new characters can only carry you so far. Why? Because they were introducing new interesting characters in season 1 without doing that major time jump. They were doing that. Zatanna and Rocket were some dope introductions to the team. The thing is though, if you wanted to introduce new characters to the team to mentor, you could have done that without a crazy time skip, in my opinion. And we'll talk about that more in my how I would have done it differently section of the video, because I do want to talk about the main thing that suffered as a result of these time skips, which is the story that they were telling us. That by the end of season 4, which is canonically 4 years after we have seen Darkseid shaking hands with Vandal Savage, he was just now doing something. You know, the Light was such a dope hidden force in season 1, and yeah, even in season 2, because they were prominent in season 2. But the more the show went on, the more I forgot that the Light was even really a thing. They would talk about them, but I didn't feel like the things that were happening in the world were as a result of them. And that could have been due to my own misinterpretation of the story, but I do also think that's a product of the time skip, because my brain is thinking, all right, bro, it's been 5 years. They probably handled the Light already. We on a new, bigger and better things. Like, they're adults now. Like, shit, the kids who started this shit are adults now. It's been 5 goddamn years. Dick Grayson's 18. Wally, I think, is like 19. So I'm like, oh, you know, they're getting shit done. No, no, they weren't. You know, they influenced the story so much within those first 2 seasons, but it feels like all that they were stuck in the same place between seasons 1 and 2 after a 5-year time jump. It felt like they did absolutely nothing. And that goes for both parties, honestly. As far as to me, it seemed they just expanded the team on the league's side and they started setting up that covert team, not like the team, like, you know, with the kids and stuff, like the double covert team. That was a thing, the double covert team, where it was like I think it was like founding members of the league and then the team, like the original team. They should have named that, bro. The team is such a thing to whatever. And basically where they were trying to be like the antithesis to the light, I guess, the darkness, I don't know. But I did love the slow burn aspect of the show, you know, the build up that they were going for. But once we came back from cancellation, the story went absolutely nowhere. I'm going to be quite frank about that. You know, the forces of Darkseid and Light teamed up, cool. And then the meta human trafficking plot was really interesting to me. That made sense as a natural progression for that plot line. Pretty dark considering, but you know, that was when they came back. So at this point they were like, you know, it's mostly like young adults and adults watching this show, even though it really was that kind of age group in the first place. But if superhumans were introduced in today's society tomorrow, especially with how the world is going, if you know, you know, I do genuinely believe that governments and private entities all over the world would find ways to try to weaponize them, and they would definitely traffic them. Like, that's not even, you know, if you know what's going on, what's coming out right now. I'm just saying, like, let's call a spade a spade. The thing is, though, I think we overcommitted to it too much. While I do think it's a very good plot line and it's a thing that we could expand on, like, I think that was a 1-season thing. And I think it was the authors getting a little bit too confident in the fact that everyone was so passionate about the show coming back, because we fought for years for this show to come back. We begged and petitioned for literal years for the show to come back. But why is it that in season 4, it's season 4, and you're giving me a plot point with Superboy in the Phantom Zone after seemingly being dead, and General Zod and his son trying to free them from the Phantom Zone? Like, dude, where did that factor in anywhere in what we were setting up in seasons 1, 2, and 3? Like, what's going on there? And I mean, it's cool that you're giving me stories that develop the characters on the side. I do appreciate that. It makes the world feel better and more richer. Feel better and richer, not more richer. Correct grammar, guys. But that all happened outside of the Darkseid stuff, even though it was, I guess, somehow connected. I can't really remember. I genuinely really can't remember. I'll be honest with that. But to me, that wasn't a whole season thing. That's a few episodes. I think at this point they were splitting up the season into 2 parts. Make that part 1 of your season, because they made it like, I think it was by the end of part 1 is when Superboy was dead, or, you know, in the Phantom Zone. But like, make that part 1 of your season where Superboy's trapped in the Phantom Zone, and then they figure out, oh, he's not dead. All right, let's get him out the Phantom Zone. And then maybe have it like, so Zod, like, I don't know, somehow gets teamed up with Darkseid and the Light or something. I don't know. I'm not a writer, but I definitely do think that you going on side quests in your story after having your show canceled isn't the best thing to do, especially for an entire season. I can tell you that much. I remember at the end of season 4 that Mary Marvel and Supergirl showed up as Darkseid's his Furies, and I was thinking, when the hell did that happen? I don't remember that like being alluded to. I remember like they said like Mary went like some dark path or something, but I don't remember Supergirl being mentioned at all anywhere. You know, and before I move on to how I would have handled the story, I do want to say I'm okay with stories doing background stuff in the show. You know, I'm fine with that. Background character development or background character progression, like, that's a thing. But it gets to a point that when you keep bouncing around, I can't keep up with what's going on, or in those time gaps that you're forcing on me. Let's be honest here, they're forcing those on me. They don't need to have those. I don't really know what's going on in them. And I think like the comics or something, you could watch those or read those and fill it in, but I shouldn't have to read supplemental material for the show that you're presenting to me. And I know, like I said, I'm for sure forgetting stuff, but it gets to a point where you're doing too much. And they were doing too much.
Young Justice Invasion, weekdays at 6:30 on Cartoon Network.
To start off this section of the video, I do want to say that the linear comic book feeling that the show was going for, I think they succeeded in achieving that very much. The problem, as we stated earlier, was the time skips. With a comic book, you can do time skips or you can do time flashbacks as much as you want. Because the thing is, with a comic book, even if it's canceled from a certain author, another author can come in and probably pick up those plot lines if they want to. You can't do that with a TV show. You have a set amount of time that you're allotted to get that to me. And obviously, you know, between seasons 1 and 2, I just want to say there should be no time jump. There should be no time skip. But if you, for some reason, so badly want to do a time skip, at most it should be 1 year. It shouldn't be more than 1 year. You know, the most egregious thing is that 5-year time jump. There's no reason I should have to be filled in on a gap that large between seasons 1 and 2. You had 1 season to make me like these guys. You did. Then you're gonna skip 5 years, season 2. I don't even know who's on the team anymore. All the characters that I grew and loved, something's changed about them. I don't know what it is. I wanted to grow with these characters, you know? And again, it neuters the villains. I think they haven't been doing anything for that entire 5 years. And honestly, even the heroes, like, they've been doing nothing for the past 5 years. I get planning, hero planning, villain planning. All right, cool. You know, it takes time. Realistically, it takes time. But bro, they have superpowers and magic and heightened human abilities. That's what Batman and Robin do. They can you have Batman in the universe, bro. They have aliens, bro. There's no reason why they should be planning for 5 years. And even if they have stuff that's going on, I don't know what it is. And it's your job as the writer and the presenter of the show to make me know what's going on. I can't, it's not like, you know, with a comic book where I can go research that myself, like, oh yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, think Invincible. With Invincible, I can be like, oh yeah, all right, so, you know, there's a time jump here. All right, I'm gonna go check out what they're doing in this time. I can, you know, go read the comic and actually know what's going on. No, it's not like that. This is an original story that you're telling me. It is your job to portray the story to me well. I'm going to be frank about that. But think about it in this way. Within the time it took the Light to act after losing to the kids, and I guess the League, in 2011, think of all the things that have happened in there. How much you grew between 2011 and 2016. All the things that you've done between 2011 and 2016. And for my older folks, where you turned 18 in 2020, I was gonna say 2019, 2020, think of all the things that you've done between 2020 to 2025. Think of all the things that the world has gone through. And you're telling me that all that time passed and the Light or the League didn't really do much. The team didn't really do much. You know, and within that year time skip, you could also introduce new characters to the team. You know, it's your interpretation of the characters. That's fine. You know, look at Zatanna. She's supposed to be a Batman age character. She's been a Batman love interest in the past, but they made her a love interest for Dick, and they are the same age, which I'm not complaining about, but it shows that they are willing to play with age for certain characters, which could feed into your whole mentorship program that you kind of want to establish, you know? Then, feeding off of that, I want to address the idea of the kids being mentors. I don't think that should have happened until season 4. I don't think it should have happened until season 4. A lot of adult storylines could have just gone to the League members, if we're being honest, because they're in the world anyway, and it would have given them more to do. I know it's not Justice League, it's Young Justice, but if you're gonna do a baby shower randomly throughout the season 3, I think it was, and I know that it kind of played into the plot line a little bit because there's that one guy across the street like stalking them, but the League members were still there, so it could have been relevant. You could have given them that. And the reason I say season 4 is that by that point we would have spent 3 good seasons with these characters and watched them grow and getting to know them and the lessons that they went through, so them mentoring people would have had more impact. It would have meant more. And if you want to do another time skip for some reason between seasons, you could do another one between seasons 2 and 3, 1 year, another 1 year time jump between seasons 2 and 3, and then another 1 year time skip between seasons 3 and 4. Maybe 2. That'd be stretching it. Maybe 2, you know? I do want to express, like I said, I'm not very fond of that idea, but maybe 2. But the biggest thing that was caused by this time skip is the character bloat, which should have been tamed down, or could have been tamed down, with the reduction of the time skips. This isn't an ensemble show, but you need to stick to the core characters as much as possible, because they're the people that you've introduced me to at first, and they're the people that I care about. And if you want it to be this ensemble show, which is fine, you know, you could have went the route of making it anthological, you know, each season be a different team. But at that point, they would need to make, again, the show an anthological series, which could have worked. It could have been good if they just set it up like that from the beginning, instead of having a linear storyline. Or, you know, have that dark side stuff in the back, because, you know, it takes a long time to travel through space, I guess. Have that dark side stuff in the back, and then have each season be, like I said, anthological, new characters, and the previous characters, I don't know, dude, like, just don't have them be there. Like, or just don't do the crazy time skips. I don't know, bro. Like, I'm kind of getting frustrated on this right now. Let's move to our closing arguments. I remember between seasons 3 and 4, and then after season 4 ended, they kept saying, we'll be able to make more as long as you guys keep showing up. Well, we did. I did. A lot of people did, but you kept showing up time and time again, pushing back, progressing the story in a meaningful way. I truly loved Young Justice, and I wanted the story to progress to its natural ending. But you can only get so much goodwill and faith from an audience when you're on borrowed time. By the time season 4 ended, and I saw a lot of people online agreeing with me, I just didn't care anymore. Like, you came back from cancellation after getting 2 seasons, you know? Tell me the last time that you saw somebody get online and say that they're petitioning for season 5 of Young Justice. I don't even think that's a thing. I don't think I even saw that after season 4 ended. I think season 4 ended and I was like, oh, you know, I hope we get a season 5, but I don't really care anymore. You know, a lot of shows got revivals, not as much as they got 1 season. Think about Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack got 1 more season. What did it do? It wrapped up its story. It was like, all right, we got 1 season, we got it, let's go. Like, think about if Samurai Jack came back and was like, all right, bro, we got 1 more season confirmed, but let's leave a little plot thread in there to like get to season what? I can't remember how many seasons Samurai Jack had, but another season after that. Like, wouldn't you feel kind of like, all right, bro, like, what are we doing here? You told me you needed 1 season. What are we doing here? But that's, you know, the video. And as usual, I want to say thank you guys so much for your continued support. You know, liking, subscribing, commenting what you guys think down below really does help. I read every single comment that you leave, even your dissertations. You guys left a lot of dissertations on that Naruto video. Still getting through them. But I do want to say thank you guys so much. And, you know, to you Young Justice junkies out there, comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm missing anything or if I'm just plain wrong with this video. And, you know, I love you guys. See you in the next one.